Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Guys Gabbin Gridiron. I'm Josh McSwain, joined as always by AJ Torres. And tonight we're going to start off with some sad news. Pro and College Hall of Famer Charlie Trippi passed away. Tonight he was Heisman Trophy runner-up at Georgia, member who of the team that the Cardinals team that won their last championship back when they were still in Chicago in 1947. He was a member of that team, and he is, I think, the only college football player, take that back, the only pro football Hall of Fame member to have 1,000 yards rushing, receiving, and passing in his career. He
Wow.
was an old-fashioned player that could truly do it all.
And apparently he played defensive back a little bit too. That's crazy. At the professional level, you play quarterback, running back, apparently he punted the ball and he received like this guy was basically like you would call him today as a utility knife, the Swiss Army, just a jack of all trades. Basically Taysom Hill reincarnated. But yeah, 100 years old, oldest Hall of Famer now is alive. God bless him.
Certainly. May he rest in peace. Now we're going to talk about some of the week 6 action. Some of it was good, some of it was downright frustrating. I'm going
I
to
know.
open by talking about the Packers and them utterly laying an egg in Lambeau against the Jets. I bet your father was thrilled with this one.
Absolutely. But he kept my father has been a Jet fan for the longest time, and everyone's like, listen, we don't need to go back to I don't want to keep thinking '06 where they drafted Mangold and all those guys, but my father loved Brees Hall, was basically jumping up and down when they drafted him. Loved Sauce Gardner, was absolutely thrilled. When I told him about Garrett Wilson, he was very happy with it. This whole team, the young dynamic, and another year underneath Robert Sala. Now, I understand that he's a defensive minded coach and Zach Wilson does not look great, but they mentioned 3 years ago about the Jets pass rush. And this week, the pass rush actually looked legit as they tried to claim it as 3 years ago. The
Mm-hmm.
secondary looks absolutely brilliant with Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed. It's fantastic. And again, if the offensive line could stay healthy and Zach Wilson, well, essentially he just needs to start putting up. I understand that the Jets are in a good place, but it's still up for debate if Zach Wilson's got the skills, the talent, and if he's good between the ears. But
Right.
needless to say, I'm sorry, but I don't care if you're a Green Bay fan. I don't care if you're an Aaron Rodgers fantasy football stockholder. You're supposed to be a top quarterback. Back to
Mm-hmm.
back weeks, you lost against the Jets, who I'm sorry. There's a lot of mediocrity in the NFL right now. I hate to say it. And I'm not the only one who said so.
You are not.
But if you just look at it, you are supposed to be Aaron Rodgers. Your close game with Tampa, that's a top three defense. Doesn't matter who's hurt, doesn't matter who starts. That's a top three defense. Cut and dry. And that is a fantastic secondary that they have right there, especially if you look
Mm-hmm.
at the depth chart. If you want to make a close game with them, fine, by all means. But 2 weeks in a row, you lost against a third string quarterback which he's actually turned out to be not too bad. Now, when will the magic die? We don't know, especially playing against expatriate quarterbacks, but that's beside the point. Then losing to the Jets and not even making it a contest, not even looking like you're capable. And the fact that Sauce Gardner is locking up elite wide receivers to underneath 30 yards for a game. I understand the talent there, but when you are Aaron Rodgers, you're supposed to be able to read through and make the plays on these elite defenses. Is he aging like milk all of a sudden? What's your thought about Aaron Rodgers, the closet drug addict and egomaniac? Because me, I'm kind of pissed and he needs to step up and do better. This is unacceptable.
You know, I've just kind of felt like maybe he's kind of going through the motions at this point. I've questioned with all his flirtation with retirement how much he really wants to play the game anymore. And other people I've seen on Twitter have kind of wondered the same thing if he's just retired on the job, so to speak,
Oomph.
just going through the motions. I was wondering earlier this week, would it even be remotely possible to trade him? I mean, he's thrown the team under the
Uh,
bus and all that, but I mean, I just don't think that we can pull it off at this point because I just don't know who would have a situation where they would be able to bring him in cap wise and that would actually want him in their locker room. One thing I thought about, I think the odds of it happening are about 10,000 to 1. Swap Russell Wilson for Rodgers. The argument for it is you get Rodgers and Hackett back together. Russ has not looked very comfortable in Denver. So maybe with the Broncos sitting there at 2-4, you get a quarterback that you're familiar with. The cap hits might be roughly similar. However, it would be a massive egg on the face of George Patton, Broncos GM, if it's like, oh yeah, we got Russ. 6 weeks later, boom, he's off. He's out of here. So
and it's
yeah,
actually,
that's not gonna happen, but
I mean,
it's an entertaining thought.
either way, Green Bay would be stuck with an old man quarterback.
I suppose so. Do you think there's even a remote possibility Rodgers could be benched at some point?
Never.
I don't know. We'll see.
Unless he's hurt. I mean, at the end of the day, if he wanted to somehow retire after this year, like he's been threatening the last couple of years, and just say, "Okay, bye," that's fine. Maybe that's why Jordan Love is actually still around. Because I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If that guy got drafted first over it was a first round pick, and he's
Yes,
just been riding the bench. Outside of that
correct.
one time where he was suspended because of some off the field decisions. I'll call it that because I won't get into the actual circumstances. But if you just look around the NFL, who couldn't use Jordan Love right now? You could argue that San Francisco would want him. You can make the argument for
Mm,
Carolina.
maybe. But you just traded for Baker, who also has not looked very good. Now he's hurt. Do you really think he's
You
any
traded a
better than
fifth round
Mayfield
pick.
would be?
It was a
Oh man,
fifth round
I'm not.
pick.
Mm,
And
I
plus,
don't know.
Jordan Love, well, he would have a little more time on the contract. All you have to do is just, well, if let's say it happened tomorrow, you have him for the rest of the season, the following season, and because you were a first round pick, you have the 5th year option.
Right.
So that would be worth it for Carolina if they wanted to pull the trigger. But it comes down to Green Bay, and they're not that traditional organization. They're not one of those, trade deadline organizations.
Right. You're talking about the Jets. I think Sauce Gardner, he's giving up the lowest completion percentage or something like that in man coverage in the entire league right now. Something crazy they talked about. It's like
He's
I feel somewhat
phenomenal.
vindicated about saying he was the first or second best player in the draft. Yeah, been a great pickup there. And also Quinnen Williams, defensive tackles having a great year, has 5 sacks as a DT.
I
You don't
mean, we
always see that out of a interior lineman, not since Warren Sapp, really.
or well, you could count Aaron Donald, but he's in a category of its own.
Yeah, that's true.
But like I said, it's like we have Aaron Donald, the future legend and Hall of Famer. Dot dot dot. Warren Sapp. Dot dot dot. Who? Question mark. Question mark. Question mark.
Actually, Williams has 5 sacks while Donald has 4 so far this season. Granted, not a lot of help on that front in LA.
But no matter what, Aaron Donald also has the reputation of you're getting 2 or 3 guys on him at every snap.
True.
How many men could actually go one-on-one with Aaron Donald?
Not too many. Although,
Not
if we
many.
could see it, have him go one on one against Larry Allen, former Cowboys guard who was like 330 pounds. And one time I saw a play where Larry Allen ran down a cornerback who had intercepted a pass.
Yeah, they say one of the best pound for pound athletes.
Yeah, that's ridiculous right there.
Absolutely. No question in my mind about that.
Right.
So, since we mentioned Carolina, so Steve Wilkes, we know that this guy, as far as the head coach, hasn't been great. Small sample size, but hasn't been great. So, former Jet and former Carolina Panther Robbie Anderson. And there's been some questionable things about Robbie. And one of the incentives of him going to Carolina was because at Temple there was Matt Rule.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about Robbie Anderson, is the talent there? Yes. It does have speed. He doesn't have that much size, but he does have hands. And when he actually, I'm not sure if it's been play calling in Carolina. I think that's part of it. But we know he could play. And
Yep.
when he's asking why he's being taken out on third down, because this is the money play, man. He's in his interviews, he's going, I want to be able to help make a difference. And third down on money down, that's where I want to be at. Because this is what I do. I wake up every morning and I want to go out there and I just want to play hard football. Now, everyone said his heart is in the right place, but maybe his mind and his ego, maybe they're not all on the same page. I think he means well. I just don't think he has the composure, uh, to say the least. But it's the first time I remember anybody getting ejected from a game by his own coach.
Indeed.
And less than 24 hours later, there's a rumor for a week, over a week, that he's being shopped on the trade block to get picks. And with an injury to Hollywood Brown, who could potentially go on the IR, but he hasn't, because they said that they got a second opinion on his foot. And if did you see the land?
I actually did not,
And
but now I've just heard it's at least a month, but perhaps not
and now
longer than
and
that.
now it's from the second opinion, mind you. So his toes are in the ground, and the defender actually falls on the heel of his foot. And I thought, oh my God, like when you see his foot land like that, that could be a month, and you have no idea what it could be because I'm like, that could be a month, that could be a year and a half. Because the way
Right.
that he fell, if he said, hey, his Achilles exploded, because that's actually been unfortunately more common in the game now.
Yep.
If that happened, it wouldn't surprise me, unfortunately, and I hate saying it.
It's true.
But with the move of Hollywood, now is Robbie Anderson, who even Larry Fitzgerald said this team isn't getting better by Thursday. They're like, James Jones was on the Morning Carton show, and he goes, well, Robbie, he goes, the way because it's a short week and you've only been here 3 days, you got two routes Thursday night. You got the curl and you got the stop and go called day. But really, I'm just trying to think about what's going on with Cliff Kingsbury. This is his offense. He's calling the plays and nothing's working. This is supposed to be his offense. Everything's where it needs to be. And still, 6 weeks in the first half of games, you've only scored a total of 10 points, which is unacceptable. Your second round pick, I think it's Trey McBride, the tight end. He's got 3 catches for 24 yards. Zach Ertz doesn't seem to be around as much as he should be. But being optimistic here, you start off with the offense, and I know that some of these run backs are banged up in Arizona. Maybe it's because their offensive line doesn't know how to block as much as they should. But you're going to
True.
have Hopback, Robbie. You got Zach Ertz if he's not banged up. And I hate to say this, but even if you put in one of those running backs, or even if you put in Eno, or let's say you want to go 2 more wide receivers, I have no idea what you're going to do there. Rondell Moore looks like a bust. AJ Green, remember that play? Was it a Thursday night or a Monday night game? It was a prime time game. AJ Green is in the end zone, and it looked like they said it looks like AJ Green got disconnected from the Xbox controller. He ran in, stopped his route. The ball goes past him. Game over. They
Yeah,
lost
I
against the
remember that.
Packers.
I think it was their first loss last year. It was perplexing play.
And if you remember that, that was the last time we saw who we believe is the good AJ Green, and the last time we saw the Cardinals as a legitimate threat to anybody.
Right.
That's sad, unfortunately.
It's true. Well, let's go to a different game, one that a lot of people were looking forward to, the Bills and the Chiefs.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh God.
Sorry, but the pain.
You know, I did predict the Bills to win this one, if you remember.
Yes, I do.
I knew it was going to be something like that. It was either going to be the Bills just had their chance, or there was going to be some other errors going on. And I still don't think that Mahomes is comfortable throwing at everybody. And everybody was healthy in the secondary. For example, did you hear what happened with Jordan Poyer?
I did not. I just know that he was playing in the game after he missed some time earlier this year.
Apparently, because of his rib injury, he's not approved to fly. So the
Okay.
Bills actually rented him a van, and him and his family traveled 15 hours to play in Kansas City.
Huh. How about that?
And he put up. He did.
Yep. One good thing for the Bills out of this game was that Devin Singletary was averaging 5 yards a carry with 85 yards on 17 totes. And they're going to need some of that because somebody other than Josh Allen has to run the ball for them. Meanwhile, on the other side, Clyde Edwards-Helaire averaged under 4 yards a carry at 33 yards on 9 carries. And both of these teams are very similar to one another, and I've thought both of them need to find some balance on offense. Someone's got to be able to run the football. And the Bills got it done. I think it was a huge factor. Obviously, Mahomes throwing the picks on the first and last drives of the game made a huge difference. We have another Josh Allen fumble this week.
We do.
Honestly, I felt like the Bills were a better team by more than the 4-point margin would have suggested, because they had a couple other drives, like the fourth down where they got stopped when Stephon Diggs got bit by the turf monster. Otherwise, he would have had a touchdown on that one.
Agreed.
So, yeah. Look, this is going to be potentially huge because this could mean home field throughout the playoffs for the Bills. But obviously, a long ways to go.
Indeed.
I'm glad you persuaded me to take the Patriots over the Browns, who laid another egg.
What I say, Bill Belichick, past quarterback under his system. Who is your daddy? What does he do? He develops quarterbacks and owns them after.
True. You did.
Ain't nothing else to say about that one.
Nope. Let's talk about the Giants, though. Part of the New York Revival, getting a 24-20 win over the Ravens. The Ravens blew yet another double-digit lead against an offense I would not have suspected would come back like that. But two touchdowns in the final 6 minutes. Bellinger caught an 8-yard touchdown from Daniel Jones, and then Saquon Barkley got the winning score after a fumble by Lamar. Giants just find ways to get it done. And in a very mediocre NFC, I think the outlook is good for them right now.
It really is. And it's kind of close because if you think about it, all the teams outside Washington, it's competitive.
True.
It really is. I mean, the Eagles are undefeated at the moment. And if you look at the schedule, they should be able to cakewalk it. They really should. Outside the rivalry games, they should be able to cakewalk it. But if you
I
look
think
at
there
this,
are some other games that could surprise you out of that lot, like the Colts and the Titans. The Eagles got to play both of them. And even though we've criticized the Packers, if they get it together, that's not going to be easy. I think the Eagles probably end up with 14-ish wins.
I never thought they'd be undefeated, but the fact that we're saying 14 for any team, that's still astonishing.
Maybe.
I mean, 14 wins. Doesn't matter if there's an extra week or not. That's still a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it is very good. I was also really surprised Steelers upsetting the Buccaneers.
Oh,
Mitch
yeah.
Trubisky came on in relief, got a touchdown pass to Claypool. Man, the Buccaneers' offensive line still not doing it, not running the ball at all. It's pretty much, it's all on Brady to do everything now, and I just don't know that he is what he was even 2 years ago. Defense, while still good, doesn't look quite the same either.
Definitely not. Although, going back to the Giant Raven game, so especially if we go out to TTB Ravens Media and McConnell, who I've talked a lot about too, Well, I kind of said the same thing to about his basketball team. He's a Thunder fan. Hope is not a plan. So my thought is going forward, and he's complained about Harbaugh and Jim Roman, and I'm sorry, Greg Roman. When does it start to settle that it goes, hey, your back's against the wall, you're the problem? For the Ravens, I mean, look at it. Losing at home so many times in a row, choking in games that are in your favor late, and this should be your game to give it up and lose. This is supposed to be a playoff team. The expectations are high. Lamar's supposed to get paid. All these things. And what are they doing late in the games? Are they crapping their pants? Do they turn into the Cardinals in the first quarter? I'm sorry, first quarter.
Yeah, it was like the
Could say
defense
first
just
half.
checks out a little too early.
And that's not acceptable. Is that coaching? Is that the players?
I don't know, but I do think if Wink Martindale were still there, things would probably be different.
Fair.
Yep. But the thing is, they're currently in the lead in their division at 3-3. One of at least three divisions I can think of that have teams tied at 3-3 leading the division. Of course, they're tied with the Bengals, whom they've beaten. You also have the NFC South, where you got the Falcons and the Bucks, who are tied at 3-3, leading the division. And then the NFC West, where it's Seattle and the Rams and San Francisco, all tied at 3-3, leading the division.
Colts and Titans 3-2.
Yep, 3-2 and
And
3-2 and 1.
Can't get more weird than that.
Yep. I mean, there's still time. A few of these teams are going to rise above the rest of them. We all know that. Sometimes it just takes a little time for a team to get their feet under them, and I think the Colts are getting better. And they've had no Jonathan Taylor for a while now. Matt Ryan's showing he can still get it done from time to time, but their balance on offense is just non existent right now. Pretty much putting it all on the shoulders of Matty Ice to win. But he's
Well,
showing he
can't you
can
same,
get
can't
it
say the
done.
same thing with Russ because his head coach is not capable?
Right.
I said what I said. Daniel Hack is not capable.
Yeah, they're Bronco fans who already want to see Nathaniel Hackett get canned.
Take his old horse to the Whole Town Road. Please don't ride no more.
I was not expecting a reference to that song on this show, but it just happened.
Ride your horse and don't come back. Broncos country. But as a Chiefs fan, oh, by all means, we'll take care of your horse. We'll feed him some water, give him some good grain. Hey, if you want to ride Broncos country to, the absolute schlacken for the next 5 years, I'm all for it. I am all for it as a Chiefs fan. But as a football fan, get off your horse and get the hell out of here. You're a disgrace.
Well, I still don't think they're going to get rid of him this quickly. But I
Not
wonder in the
saying today, but
mid-season if things have gone really bad with the expectations being what they were, would it be possible? Maybe,
most things are possible.
I suppose. Well, anyway, let's roll on with the week 7 picks. We got another Thursday night game on Amazon Prime that does not interest me at all. Saints at the Cardinals. Andy Dalton's probably going to be starting again for New Orleans, going against the mishmash drama that is Arizona.
These teams are both filled with drama. Let's just be honest. Let's just get that. let's just get that out of the way. Both of these teams are filled with drama, bro.
They are.
And they haven't labeled a starter. They said Jameis Winston is technically healthy, but they weren't ruling a starter. You know, something tells me give me Arizona on this one. And you know how much I hate them on paper, but the Saints on paper should be doing much better.
Yeah, that's true. Had two close losses the last 2 weeks. I think Dalton is steady enough. I'm going to go with the Saints very hesitantly.
We're both hesitant on this matchup. I mean, I'll watch it, at least before I pass out on the couch, but yeah, definitely could
Right
be better
on.
games out there.
Yep. Next up, we got a matchup of two of those aforementioned division leading 3-3 squads as Atlanta goes to Cincinnati.
Ooh. Ooh. You know, I just don't know if the Atlanta secondary is powerful enough against Jamar Chase and company. Give me Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going Bengals too. I don't think Mariota can keep up with that high powered Bengals unit. Next up, we got the fighting Dan Campbell's going against the team Dan Campbell spent a lot of his career playing for. Welcome back, Dak, and the Dallas Cowboys. This one should be easy.
This should be Cowboys. Now, granted, the Lions are not a doormat team. I hope that this is a high scoring game, but I gotta go Cowboys just a little bit of the edge. But who knows? Might be a controversy. I do not know. You think Dak is
Perhaps.
actually going to start this one, or you think there's going to be
Yeah, I
other
do.
plans?
I do, and Detroit's defense is really bad. That's why I picked him up for in fantasy for Josh Allen's bye week, because I was like, know the opponent, and they're not good.
Very true.
Moving on. AFC South showdown. Colts and Titans in Nashville.
Ooh, with Jonathan Taylor not around, I'm very hesitantly taking Titans.
I'm going with the Colts because I think they've got a good thing going. I think the Colts eventually got to get off the losing streak to Tennessee. They play close games almost every time, and Titans have won at least the last three, so I'm going to go with the Colts in this one. Next up, we got another fairly uninspiring game. The sputtering Packers go to Washington to take on the Taylor Heineke Commanders.
Ooh. Huh. Give me Green Bay because I don't trust Washington with anything, but both of these teams just suck. They suck, let's be honest.
I agree. Let's just leave it at that. Moving on. Buccaneers at the Panthers.
This is straight Bucks
Agreed.
because the Panthers are straight butts. Next,
Okay, I have nothing to add to that. Next up, New York football Giants go to Jacksonville against a Jaguars team looking to snap a 3-game losing streak.
the trend is going up Giants with a organization that is still trying to find their footing. If they are going through playoff worthy teams, I think they should be capable against Jacksonville. There's not a lot of film on this team, particularly with a new head coach, but you got to go with trends sometimes. I'm going Giants.
Yep, 3 straight wins for the Giants, 3 straight losses for the Jags. This will be closer than most people think, but yeah, at this point, I gotta go with the G-Men. Next up, AFC North showdown, Browns at Ravens.
Very hesitantly taking Ravens. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Browns defense is just trash. It just is, man.
Unfortunately so. And
No matter how good
hate
Nick Chubb is, he can't do it all himself.
I hate saying it, but you're right.
All right, next up, we got the Jets going to Mile High to take on the Broncos.
Ooh.
This will be a low scoring game, I feel like, but I finally got to give some respect to the Jets. Wouldn't surprise me either way, though.
Once again, you gotta go with the trends. I'm going Jets. Now, I'm hesitant on this one,
I can understand why.
but if Russ keeps making these mistakes, and so far all his targets haven't been exactly stellar, at least on the stat sheet. So what is Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, and this pass rush that just really got life, and all of these people in the analytical department said this was the future, this is going to happen sometime. What the hell happened there? With that, I'm going to go Jets because they're going to give Russ a problem. And if they're good on defense and special teams, again, Zach Wilson, all he has to do is game manage. And we'll see how that running back combo and this young receiver core will do.
Right. Next up, we got two teams coming off a bye as the Texans go to Vegas to take on the Raiders.
Going Raiders. Sorry, Tex.
Yeah, this was a tough one. It's one that I kind of went back and forth on. Looks like we're going to have Devontae Adams in this one, despite the fact I thought he should have been suspended. Looks like he'll be there. The Raiders obviously have the edge in talent, but just don't know quite what you're going to get. They've just been so close again in all these games against superior competition. Against the Texans, a team that's kind of scraping by. I just got to go Raiders. But yeah, wouldn't surprise me if Texans were to win the game.
I can't disagree there.
Next up, we got the Seahawks going to LA to take on the Chargers.
This is another interesting game. This is very tough for me. I've been weighing it on and off for quite a while now. Something tells me to go Seahawks.
Yeah, I gave it some thought, and there's an argument for the Seahawks right now, but I just think as good as Geno Smith has been playing, Herbert is still just better. I trust him and Mike Williams right now more than I do Seahawks offense, though I would expect a big game from Ken Walker. Even though it's a short week for the Chargers coming up. So, yeah, definitely a potential upset, but I'm going to stick with the Chargers. Moving on, we got Chiefs at 49ers.
I'm gonna go Chiefs just because they're more healthy.
I'll agree with you on that one. Next up, we got presumably the return of Tua as they host the Steelers. Who do you got in this one?
I have to go Steelers here, especially after coming off of Tampa, and everyone said that was a lock. Everyone said that was an absolute lock, and that was a 10-point spread in favor of Tampa. What they do? Even with their backup quarterback, they shoved it down their throat and won. It wasn't a pretty game, but the Bucks lost. That's what matters in life.
It's true. Still, I think Tua coming back, I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
All right. Hopefully good for my Jaden Waddle season.
Indeed. And last up, we got Bears going to New England to take on the Patriots. We don't know if it'll be Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones again. Regardless, I'm going to go with New England. Bill Belichick, yeah, he is going to own Justin Fields in this one, a Bears passing attack that has been lifeless.
I can't disagree there.
Alrighty then. Well, any final thoughts?
I think there's going to be a few quarterback controversies after this week. So when we're on this show a week from today, I think we're going to see the tweets, see the comments, and we're going to have to get back to it. And for PJ Walker, oh, help that man. Because do I think he's got talent? Yes. Do I think he's been surrounded by talent at the NFL level? Absolutely not.
Right.
Not in the offensive line, not when getting those proper reps on a regular basis. And going against these phenomenal teams just don't help him.
No, it doesn't. They've had DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, but just can't get anything in sync. Kind of
Correct.
stinks because he was kind of the poster child of XFL to NFL success.
He was.
Yeah, hopefully for his sake he can get it turned around or maybe find a different situation that fits him better. And you don't know what's going to happen in Carolina over the off season. They could completely overhaul. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. Remember, follow us on Twitter, guys, Gabbin Gridiron, and we're also on YouTube. Search for Guys Gabbin Gridiron. You'll find this show. And on behalf of AJ Torres, I'm Josh McSwain. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.